It is the first day of Black History Month, and we're celebrating all month long by kicking it off with a look at the players during the MLB Network era, and we're celebrating our 15th anniversary this year, that have won MVPs that have an African-American background. And of all those players that we talked about in that little rip, the guy that I want to start the discussion on is Mookie Betts, who in 2018 put together a historic MVP season because the voting wasn't close, and neither were any of the numbers. We're going to sit on this for a minute, Jake, because I remember this well, talking about his strikeout-to-walk ratio being about 1-for-1, which was absurd. His contact rate being more absurd. Look at the hard hit, the barrel percentage, way above MLB averages for that year. And that was the year that everybody kind of said, this is who Mookie Betts is. He went to L.A., had a hard time replicating those numbers initially, but he's right back to those magical thresholds now. And in 2024, shows no signs of slowing down. There might be another MVP in his future, this one coming in the senior circuit. Remember that year well. He was unbelievable.
Absolutely. It ended pretty well for Boston, too, if I remember correctly. But I played with Mookie in 2014, 2013. He was on the taxi squad watching our ball club, and then you watch the talent come to the big league level. When you talk about 2018 season, it's what ultimately sealed his fate in having to leave Boston. But Mookie Betts, I'll give him some leeway. When you change coast, you change your environment.
Yeah.
He's certainly struggled there for a bit, but he has fallen right back into the Mookie Betts that we know as good as ever on the field. That year's unbelievable when you talk about having some of your stats double or better than league average. But Mookie and what he's meant to L.A., it pained me as a Boston fan and somebody with ties to Boston see somebody like Mookie leave, because as good as he is on the field, Mookie Betts is an MVP off the field and what he does for the community and the rest of his teammates.
I don't know that the Dodgers are ever going to let him go, but there have been MVPs in the past who have returned to the uniform that they won an MVP to either replicate the success or at least take a bow in that uniform. So starting with Chuck Klein with the Phillies, you can read some of these legendary names that came back after leaving. Stretch came back to the Giants after leaving them, played in Oakland for a bit, San Diego for a bit. Reggie began in Oakland, won an MVP, came back to the A's to shut it down in '87. We're going to have Reggie on the program a little bit later on. Ichiro, of course, ended it in Seattle. And Andrew McCutchen, who won the 2015 MVP with the Pirates, played at a high level elsewhere with a number of different other employers, and came back to the Steel City last year, Jake. And it wasn't just a farewell tour. He was still a really productive, important player for them.
Absolutely. He showed that he can still play, and it's the wherewithal to stay in the game as long as Kutch has. Kutch has played as hard as anybody as we've had in the game. But this young number 22, when he came on the scene in Pittsburgh, I was in the middle of doing what I did in San Diego, and he was a force to be reckoned with, middle of the lineup. And then we started going early on in our careers on the Nike trip. So my best memories of Kutch are playing beach volleyball and being in Hawaii and getting to know the family. A tremendous dude again. And watching these players who mean so much to the community and the cities go back, there's just something that felt right about Kutch being back in the Steel City. And then I think his performance was boosted by that. And I think Kutch is there's been a reoccurring theme where some of the veteran guys have been kind of pushed out and maybe not valued. I think Kutch has felt some of that and go, look, I've got a lot of experience and a lot to give, but I can still play too. And he's shown that.
And it went so well last year, they're going to run it back again.
That's right, as they
do
should.
it this year again, which is great.